Morning, Peeps. I'm back yet again. Not just here to farm content from you or whatever it is that people do. I'm here because I've genuinely changed my plans and I wanted you guys to be in on it. And I also like thinking aloud while I'm doing these because yesterday's video that I did, if you saw it, it was really, I learned quite a lot from that, because we went into the wildcard. It was only like 24 hours or 12 hours after realizing that I had the wildcard that you have all this information and we got really very little time to process everything, So putting that wildcard together yesterday gave me quite a bit of insight into the various problems and difficulties, in the path forward. And I've made a few changes because that one yesterday was pretty good. I think it was very good actually, all the way up until after game week 34. It was fine using the free hit and the double game week. It was fine being able to make a team in game week 34 without using any chips. But the problem was that I'd have to take out Palace players or Arsenal players in order to bring in other players that had a fixture. And I realised pretty quickly after doing the video, and a lot of people pointed it out actually on the comments, so well done, the comment system's really working well. A lot of you had good ideas, pointing out that the extra double game weeks and game weeks 36 or whenever they are, I'm going to be pretty unprepared for them, so what I really need to be doing is not taking out Palace players. I need to be taking out Newcastle players. If I do it this method, I'm still going to have 3 Newcastle players left by game week 35. And that's not the way to go. So what I've done, I've listened to all your advice and I've come up with a new wildcard, basically. Not much different from that one, really. Only a couple of players different. So what I've done, I've taken out Verbruggen and replaced him with Raya instead. One more double game week player, because now I am going to be using my free hit chip in 34 to enable me to get rid of Newcastle players earlier. I can get rid of them earlier and still have them on the free hit in game week 34. So I've replaced Verbruggen with Raya. I've taken out Cucurella because I'm also not playing a game week 32 wildcard anymore. I'm playing it in 33 because I can now because I'm not using my free hit chip in that double game week. So I've taken Verbruggen out and Cucurella, and instead of Cucurella I've brought in Wan-Bissaka, as you will see why in a moment. Now this is really taking shape now though, this wildcard. There's only one player I'm not totally keen on, and that's Clivert. But I think this is one area where people wildcarding in game week 31, 32 have actually got an advantage over us that are wildcarding now, because it's very tempting to have Clivert now because they've got Ipswich, but after that game, they're not really necessary. There is a chance though that they could have a double game week against Tottenham. It's sometime much later in the season, like game week 37 or game week 36, if Tottenham keep progressing in the European competition that they're in. So everything else has stayed the same. I've been doing some research, like Livramento I'm happy with. Murphy I'm happy with. People were saying he was a rotation risk, but most of the Newcastle supporters I've talked to, he's pretty integral to the team, even once Gordon comes back. And apparently Barnes much prefers playing on the left, which is the same side as Gordon, and Murphy plays on the other side. So, he might not play 90 every game, but he looks decent for the money. Happy with Salah, Palmer. Quite a few people aren't happy with Palmer, but I think he's dropping in price tomorrow as well, isn't he? But Jackson's back, and I think Madueke's back as well. The Sri Amigos are all back together, and since those two left, Palmer hasn't scored a goal. So hopefully it's all going to be a big turnaround, you know. I mean, I don't know what happened to Palmer, whether the pressure, you know, the fame got to his head and or whatever. But hopefully he's settled down again now. Because he was becoming like a sensation, wasn't he, for a while. I don't know if that affected his play or what's affected his play. Maybe it was just Jackson being out. Maybe now Jackson's back, we're going to see the old Palmer back as well. So Kirkes is in there. He was rested in the FA Cup. So he's pretty sure to play, at least. Kluivert is the one area that I'm open to change Kluivert. But it's hard to find anyone to replace him with. I see some people are going with the other Man City player. I can't even remember his name now. Savinio. Some people are going with him. I don't even know if I can. How much is Savinio? How much is he, peeps? And where is he? This is a question. Here he is. 6.2. Yeah, I could afford him if I wanted to. Obviously appealing for this fixture. I've seen quite a few content creators are picking him up. But his minutes are not guaranteed, are they? After, you know, he's probably going to play against Leicester because he didn't play in the FA Cup. But so I can see why it's tempting. And also, we've had a bit of news on Haaland. I mean, he's not out for the season or anything, but it does sound like it could be multiple weeks, couldn't it? So I was keeping this spot open in case I did want Haaland still. You know, I could still get Haaland in game week 33 by downgrading Palmer and taking Isaac out, for example, and getting Haaland back in. So that's why I haven't got 3 Man City at the moment. I've seen people going with Guardiola and Edison. I think Edison's a complete waste of space. I mean, Ortega does start some games, and Edison's no better than any other double game week keeper, really, is he? I mean, I know he gets an assist once in a blue moon, but generally speaking, he's not really one I'd bother with. So Savinio is an interesting option. And some people are going with Rodgers as well. But I guess if I went with Rodgers, it kind of does downgrade me a little bit for this coming week, doesn't it? And the other thing with Kluivert is I'm a bit afraid to take him out because I've already taken Semenyo out. And if I take him out as well, when they go berserk against Ipswich, then I'm going to have a lot of seller's regret, aren't I? So that's partly why I'm keeping Kluivert in. And I've also got quite a bit of money tied up in him as well, I think. I think I paid a lot less for him than his current price. So I'm probably going to keep Kluivert. See how I feel in the morning. You know, I mean, the problem is for me now, it's the deadlines during my waking hours, and I hate that because I'm so tempted. I get, you know, you start listening to things and you start getting tempted to tinker at the last moment. But we shall see. So what I'm doing now, pretty much what I was doing. Game week 32 is no longer a double for me, though. That's the only difference. It's just a normal week. I mean, I could still play a bench boost in this week. It does look like I actually have to bench a few decent players, don't I? So, I mean, I could still play it. You know, it's not much different than it was before. I suppose Wan-Bissaka counts against it, but I'm not going to play it. And the reason I'm not going to play it is all to do with Raya. Because we get to the double game week and the bench boost for Raya I'm thinking he can get almost as many points as the rest of the bench put together, can't he? So this is a big difference from my game week 32 bench boost in that I have 2 fixtures for Raya, and you'd fancy him. You'd fancy him to get like 9 or 10 points, wouldn't you? You'd probably be predicted to get 9 or 10 points from those 2 fixtures. And this is why I've got Wan-Bissaka in, home to Southampton. And just put the 2 Bournemouth boys on the bench. I mean, they haven't got fantastic fixtures, but I mean, if I can get sort of 8 points from Raya, maybe 6 from Wan-Bissaka, you know, anything over like 15 points is a good bench boost, isn't it? So I think I'll go with that. And the other reason to play it in 33, of course, is that there's less chance of one of your other players not starting, because they're double game week players, nearly all of them will be. And even if they don't play both games, there's more chance of them playing. Whereas if you play it in game week 32, and any one of your players, you know, might pick up a slight knock or something, and then it's wasted, isn't it, on your bench boost? So we get to 33, and it's still not perfect. It's still not perfect, peeps. I've got 3 transfers. I probably will bring in another City player. I shall also be bringing in Saka in, by the way. This is why I've got Palmer. I don't want Saka yet. I know Arteta said he's back ready, but if Arteta says he's ready, probably means he's months away. Do you know what I mean? You can't trust Arteta. And they've got important Champions League matches, so he's going to be far more up to speed in 33 than he is now. So I'll bring him in then. Still got another couple of transfers to make. And the phone's going mental out there. I don't know what's going on. They're just going to have to wait, peeps. They're going to have to wait. So this is when you start taking out Newcastle players, because they're now surplus to requirements. So probably somebody like Rodgers. I'm not overly enamoured with Villa double game week players, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, there could even be other single week players that I'd want rather than Newcastle ones. Just don't know. Even Bowen, maybe, home to Southampton. You know, but I probably would, for the sake of arguments, just get Rodgers in. Or even Rashford. So you take care of him. There's a good chance Villa could have another double as well, you see, afterwards. So the more you get, the more chance you've got. Once you get to game week 35, we're going to know probably who has another double game week. So Isaac, let's just say for the sake of argument, Isaac to Watkins. And that's a pretty good team, you know. I'd probably start Wan-Bissaka, say, so he's not really in my bench boost. He's actually in my team, isn't he? So then I've got that bench here, which isn't fantastic, but really, like I said, it's Raya who holds the key, I think, to this particular bench boost of mine. I mean, people will have better ones probably, but I'm hoping Kirkes can do some damage this week, which is why I'm holding on to him. And like I said, Bournemouth could even have a double. So once we get to game week 33, hit chip in 34. Then we get to 35 and we find out who's got a double, whether it's Villa, Palace, Man City, or the other lot that I didn't mention, Forest. So one of these, 2 of those will have another double. So that's why it looks a lot better with the Newcastle players disappearing. I mean, Livramento's cheap. You can just stay there for the time being. Then Watkins home to Fulham. Yeah, looks better. It looks better. It's a better springboard from my other wild card onto post game week 34, I think. That's really the only difference. really the only difference. Because Newcastle's fixtures aren't great after the game week 34. They've got Chelsea and Arsenal. You know, other clubs have got better fixtures. Chelsea too don't have good fixtures, which is why taking out Palmer for Saka makes a lot of sense. So we've got to hope that Tottenham progress in the league. And I think they're playing Frankfurt, aren't they? So we want them to progress. I did actually look, surprisingly, I did actually look at bringing in Pedro Porro this week instead of Wan-Bissaka. I had a good look at it. And what put me off was the fixtures. I mean, they've got great fixtures, you know. Home to Southampton next week. Bang him in there for somebody. Then they've got Wolves. And they're not too bad in 34 either. So I thought about him instead of Wan-Bissaka. But the problem is they've got a game every 3 days because they've got those European games. And that put me off a little bit. But if you can overlook that, then he's somebody that you're not hearing mentioned. Now, if he does start these games against Southampton, Wolves and all the rest of them, he could be an interesting differential. But Wan-Bissaka's safer, and he's actually been, since he left United, he's been playing pretty well, hasn't he? So I'm a lot more set now on this wild card, you know, after having another 24 hours to think about it. And because it takes a long time, doesn't it? I mean, you think about pre-season where we spend days and days and days, don't we, trying to work out our starting team. And this wild card is no different. I mean, it's not perfect. I can't get it perfect. I can't get it perfect. If we had a Man City player that was nailed on in that price bracket instead of Kluivert, then I'd go for him. But I don't know if I trust Savinho too much. And he's very wasteful as well, isn't he? Very wasteful. I couldn't have 0.1 short pips of Pedro Porro anyway. Didn't even notice that. So, Wan-Bissaka's coming in for me. So that's about it, peeps, really. I just came on. I thought I'd better come on and let you know that it's still evolving, you know. So don't be too surprised if something changes. I think the only one that will change, like I said, would be Kluivert. I'm pretty happy with my Newcastle duo. Happy with my keepers. And happy with Salah, Palmer. You know, I'm not even debating Palmer. I'm quite happy with him. Happy with Sarr in the fact that I can't afford Eze. If I could afford Eze, I would have preferred Eze. Happy with my Teta, Isaac and Mamouche. A lot of people say my Teta wearing a mask. He didn't play very well in the FA Cup, but I think with the fixtures, got to give him a chance, really. You know, you could punt Palace, but it's a bit risky, isn't it? A bit risky. I think if you haven't got Palace now and you're not wildcarding, get through this game and you don't have to get 3 of them, I think, after this game. But because the fixtures are awful. I see Harry's he's playing his assistant manager chip, and I think he's doing it on Glasner. And I couldn't bring myself to do it because I've still got mine as well. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. It just looks too difficult. And like I said, there's going to be quite a few doubles, I think, in game week 36 or maybe 37 or whatever. So we're still going to get at least 4 games out of our assistant manager chip. And playing it then, there's no other chips that get in the way, you know. So it's easier. There's less distractions other than playing that chip. And it'll give a good end of the season. And it's a lot less convoluted than trying to play it now. And to be honest, I'd rather have it on a City double than that Newcastle or Palace double, because I don't like either of them. I mean, some people are going Palace and some people are going Newcastle on that assistant manager chip, and they're playing each other. So one lot's going to be, you know, going to lose out, aren't they? So pretty hard to call. Even Newcastle's games aren't that great, are they really? I mean, we're all getting 3 of them, but the fixtures aren't fantastic. A lot of you are playing your triple captain on Isaac. Somebody asked me if I have my triple captain still, or whether I would use it on Isaac. And obviously we don't have to decide now, but it's a decent option, I guess, isn't it? I don't think it's as good as option as Salah was in 24. I think we got 29 points out of that, but I think people will be doing well to match it, to be honest. But there are other double game weeks coming up, aren't there? So you don't have to play it on Isaac. You could wait until later on, because it's not the greatest double, is it really? Who have they got again? Man United and Palace. They're both at home though, so it's not terrible. But really, I could not play my assistant manager chip on Glasner. I mean, away at City and away at Newcastle in the same week. And the other games aren't particularly easy either, are they? In the other double, they're not much better. Who'd have we got in the next one? Away at Arsenal and home to Bournemouth. No, I just could not do it. I just could not do that, peeps. Honestly, I know table bonus is appealing, but you've got to win it first. You've got to win the games, and they're shocking, aren't they? Shocking. I would not be able to do it. If I was going to do it, I would have done it on Newcastle. But again, even there, what I didn't like about Newcastle was you have to change it. So you have to go Newcastle, and then you have to use a transfer in this period when transfers are so precious to change your assistant manager, which is why I think it's just easier to leave it until the end. Anyway, peeps, I'm off now. I'm keeping it short because you've got a lot of other stuff to watch probably too, haven't you? So have I. I want to watch Black Box in a minute and see what they were going on about. So I haven't caught up with that yet. See what my mate Az is doing. You know, he could give me some more valuable insight, couldn't he, into what I should be doing with my wildcard. I'm going to try not to. I'm going to listen to them, but I'm going to try not to be swayed by them because they're not as good as you lot, peeps. You know, you lot came on yesterday onto the chat and gave me some cracking advice there. You know, so I appreciate it. You know, because obviously, like I said, we've only had a few hours to get our heads around this wildcard, so we're still kind of learning, aren't we? We're still learning and hammering it into shape. So I'm thinking this is the way to go now. You know, back to I've been brought back into the pack. You know, because I'm just going to do what everyone else is doing, basically. I think because it probably is the best method. I think is to use that free hitting 34 and use the double game week, the bench boost in 33. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'll talk to you all later, peeps. I'll put a note on here probably at deadline to let you know what I've done, or just before deadline, just in case any of you get upset that I've changed something. But I can't see much changing, honestly. It's a very small group of players, really, isn't it, that we're all choosing from. I mean, even this draft here is only 2 players different from the one that I did yesterday. Only the goalkeeper and Cucurella are the only differences. Wan-Bissaka's a lot cheaper to carry as well than Cucurella. I'd have to get rid of him at some stage, wouldn't I? But I do think Chelsea are going to batter Ipswich, and that is why Palmer is still in my team. People are saying the Tottenham game's great for Chelsea. I don't know. I think I'd much rather, you know, the Ipswich game's the one, isn't it, really? Anyway, peeps, so I'll talk to you all later. So like and subscribe. And good luck with sorting out your wild card. And if you haven't played it, because you didn't get Haaland, then you're just a jammy git. You know what I mean? You're one of those people, like I said yesterday, that guy on the Scoutcast, Hibbo. That's the one, Hibbo. Hasn't had an injury for months. Maybe he has now. But I was watching his show last game week or game week before, and he's like saying he hadn't had an injury for months. All his co-hosts were like ribbing him about it. Whereas I've just gone every single one. I forgot to mention Solanke. He's another one. Every striker I get just gets blooming mown down. So if you've got my Tata, watch out, because I've got him now as well. So he'll be the next one. You know, something's going to happen to it. His mask's going to come off, peeps. You know, like a lot of people that I know, his mask is going to slip and something's going to happen to him. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'll talk to you all later. Cheers for now, and like and subscribe when I can find the screen, and good luck this week, unless your team's different from mine. In that case, you have an absolute shocker. Right, cheers, peeps.